Jake here for American Trucks, and in this video we're taking a look at the Barricade HD stubby front bumper fitting 2019 to 2023 Rangers. If you're looking for a way to add some style, protection, and a dash of rugged good looks to your Ranger, this is a great option that's going to work well with your existing front bumper. It's perfect for a daily driven truck that also sees some light trail action, and you even get options for integrated lighting. Now this is a compact bumper, hence the name stubby, and it really integrates well with your existing front bumper. So you get this overrider bar up top for some additional protection, and as you can see, this does wrap around the bottom of the bumper to help add some protection down there as well. And it means it will pair nicely with a skid plate, but you also get to keep your regular front bumper intact. Now, like I mentioned earlier, this is going to be a great choice for a daily driven truck or one that sees mostly some lighter duty off-roading, because it doesn't change the height or width of your truck's bumper overall. So that means that you're going to get some style and added protection, but it's not going to necessarily provide additional clearance like some other larger options. You can think of this one as more of a mouth guard, where the larger full width or pre-runner style bumpers are going to be more like a full-on helmet. You may have also noticed the absence of a winch mount. And while there are some options out there that are winch ready, this one in particular is going to fit your needs better if you want that additional style and protection, but you don't need the capability of a winch. A couple other things that are worth noting here is right underneath of the overrider bar, you've got some provisions to mount some additional lights. So if you want to do a couple of individual fog lights or a large LED light bar, you've already got that pre-drilled and ready to go. Likewise, down here in the kit, you get some little mesh covers that go right on each side here, but you can also take them off, leaving you some space for additional lighting. Now you also have access to your stock tow hooks down here, and if you change them out for shackles and D-rings, you've still got access for recovery points. Also included in the kit is a front license plate bracket. So for those of you who live in places where you need to run a front license plate, you've got the provisions already set to go. Now, since this is gonna mount over top of the majority of your front bumper, you might be thinking, well, what am I gonna do about my parking sensors? Well, the outer ones are gonna be fine. They are not obstructed by this. However, the ones in the center are gonna be, but Barricade has provided you holes. You can just pop your parking sensors right in there, and the system will remain fully functional. The bumper itself is made from heavy-duty steel plate for strength, and it's cold formed into shape. Being cold formed means that the metal hasn't been heated up and subsequently weakened in the bending process. Instead, this is all formed while it's cold to retain strength and structural rigidity. As with other Barricade bumpers, this one also features a two-stage finish, starting with an epoxy pre-coating and topped off with the texture black powder coat that you see before you. So it's going to stand up to the elements and will provide you solid protection from bumps and bruises, both in daily life and out on the trail, and it's still going to look good while it does it. As far as price is concerned, this one is going to come in around $400, and I think that's a pretty good value for your money. It's a good value within the realm of these shorter, stubby type bumpers, and it drastically undercuts the price point of many of the other bumpers out there on the market, especially those full width or pre-runner styles, which is great, especially if something like that isn't necessarily your speed or doesn't fit your needs. When it comes to installation, we're going to give this one a 2 out of 3 on our difficulty meter, and it should take you about 2 hours to get it completed. Now, this is going to require you to do a bit of modification to your factory bumper in order to get things properly fitted. And as with other bumpers, even though this one is a little bit smaller and lighter, it is still a bit cumbersome to get into place, so it would be a good idea to have an extra set of hands around when you want to get this done. Now, those two factors are what prompted us to give this one a 2 out of 3, but again, it's not anything that is too complicated, definitely something you can accomplish at home in your driveway. With that, as a matter of fact, let's hand things over to one of our AT customers who's going to walk you through the process.
For today's project, we're going to be using a 13/16 socket, an 18mm socket, a 16mm socket, a 15mm socket, a 10mm socket, an 8mm socket, a breaker bar, a 3/8 ratchet wrench, a hammer, a screwdriver, a 4mm Allen, and optionally an electric ratchet wrench. Hi, we're going to be installing a front bumper on a 2023 Ford Ranger. Step 1 is going to remove the 4 15mm bolts for the skid plate. Step 2 will be to remove the 5 10mm bolts underneath the bumper. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Step 3 is to remove the 2 10mm bolts holding the license plate bracket. And then we will be removing the next 5 plastic clips holding this up. 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5. Next, we will be removing the license plate holder. So you can push your thumbs here and push up, and the clips will come out and pull out. Step 4 is to remove this front plastic fairing. So we're gonna reach under and pull the plastic clips out. Then work your way up around the top side. Once the front plastic fairing is off, the rubber shrouds can get removed. Step 5 is to remove the 6 hex flange bolts with a 13/16 socket in the front of the bumper. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, and 6. I'm going to start with a breaker bar. Then I'll come back with my ratchet to remove them the rest of the way. After the front hex flange bolts for the bumper are removed, you can remove this single 8mm bolt on the driver's side and passenger side front mud flap. Once the 6 hex flange bolts and the 2 mud flap bolts are removed, the bumper can be pulled forward. I would recommend supporting one side. Up here, you have a factory wiring harness for your fog lights. Once you pull the wiring harness down with the plastic clip up in the top, the wiring harness can be removed by pushing this pin out and pulling that clip out. After the front bumper is removed, we can pound the end of the studs to remove these steel clips on each bolt. Step 6 is to start putting your brackets in for your new bumper. We're gonna reach behind and rotate these into place. And then you're gonna put the plastic retainer clips back on. These can be threaded or pushed on. Before putting the front bumper on, elevate one side and reinstall the factory wiring harness. Step 7 is to reinstall the factory bumper onto the supplied mounting brackets. Once the factory bumper is back onto the mounting bracket, we can put in our 12mm bolt. On the back side, you want to include a washer, a lock washer, and the nut. This step can get repeated for the passenger side. Step 8 is to put 2 spacers on, place your bracket on, then add a washer, a lock washer, and your nut. This can be repeated for the passenger side. Step 9 is to remove the tow hooks by taking off the 2 bolts with a 15mm socket. Once the tow hooks are off, we can put back our bracket, add in the tow hook with an 18mm socket on the bolts. Step 10 is going to be taking your bumper, putting it on. We want the inside 2 pieces on the outside, and then the bottoms have to be underneath. So I'm going to bring it low, making sure that the tabs are on the outside, then bring it up and hold it. Okay, once your bumper is up and into place, we're going to take our bracket, we're going to feed it underneath and put it in the 2 holes up into here. At that point, you can take a washer, a lock washer, and a nut, start to thread, and then come back with an 18mm or 16mm socket and fasten it down. Do not tighten all the way. We will need to adjust the bumper later. Okay, when the L brackets are in, we can put the bottom bolts in. That's going to be these 2. I'm using a 4mm Allen, and I'm going to start them. This bracket that is supporting these is loose, so that way I can adjust it later. This step will be repeated for the passenger side. Now we're going to go back and we're going to look around the stock bumper back to the new bumper. We're going to make sure that we have a slight gap. I prefer this, that way we don't have rubbing between these 2. Once I have a slight gap there, I'm going to come back and tighten up the inner L bracket bolts with a 16mm socket. Step 11 is to come on the bottom side of the bumper again and tighten these 2 down with a 4mm Allen key. Then you'll take your 18mm socket and fasten the tow hook bolts back down again. Okay, we're going to put the tow hook covers back on. These can just slide back on and pop back in. This can be repeated for the driver's side. Step 12, we're going to reinstall our skid plate. I'm going to start by putting a bolt in and then using my leg and lifting up the whole skid plate and starting this fastener. And I'm going to go to the back side and put in the back fastener. And get the other two. Then I'm going to take a 15 millimeter socket and tighten those up. Once the skid plate's back on, we can come back and put our front mud flap on. This is an 8 millimeter socket for this bolt. And you can repeat that for the passenger side. Step 13 is the final touches of putting on our cover plates. This is going to be 4 millimeter Allen . Once tightened, this step can be repeated for the passenger side.
That's going to wrap it up here for our review and install of the Barricade HD stubby front bumper fitting 2019 to 2023 Rangers. Thanks so much for watching, and as always, for all things Ranger, be sure to stick with us right here at AmericanTrucks.com.